able to communicate with them? Okay.
This
They're
is an
always telling me
exclusive sports
going over
presentation of Craddock Communications.
The Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show is on the air. Brought to you by Inoventive Benefits Consulting, the fuel that powers Georgia's employer health benefits.
Also brought to you in part by
Deep South Roofing, Amy Brown, State Farm Insurance, Brown's Pools and Spas, Evergreen Tree Service, John Thornton Buick GMC, Rainwater Funeral Home, Bird Disposal, and Addison Smith Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
10 seconds.
Let's set the table for tonight's action.
As we take you live to Roy Richards Memorial Stadium on the campus of
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Good afternoon, and we welcome you to Week 4 of the high school football season. Hottest day of the week, I think, today, or at least right now it feels like it.
Definitely, the heat is burning up today, so we're going to have a good, warm night tonight.
87 degrees at a little after 5 o'clock in the Eastern time zone. I am Mike Paris. To my right, those of you watching us on our Facebook live stream, is Coach David Thrower. For those of you on the radio, he's the guy to the right. No, Swole Joel is sitting behind everything over there, keeping us going today as he's producing all this stuff right now. And Andrew back at network control, I'll call that. He's back at the studios at the Parkwood Palace taking care of us as well. Week 4 and a bunch of good games coming up tonight. Last week, a very good week. Really, nobody holy ground lost last week in 9-band football, but everybody else, GHSA stuff, everybody. Bremen took a setback, but that was against a rival there.
So locals.
It's the only loss really in local schools last week.
What did we say last week? 20-4,
something like that.
And that's counting one game of Bremen Bowden, which we were going to have. We were going to be 1-1 after that one either way. So, yeah, absolutely, that was a big night last Friday night for all the locals, and hopefully we'll have another one this week.
So here we go to Week 4, and we're going to talk about all these games coming up here on the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. And thankfully, we have a couple of Deep South Roofing broadcast tents to protect us from the sun. You're on the shade over there. I got the sun coming in on this side over here.
Hey, I got the car right in, too, so, they know how to handle VIPs over here.
Oh, they took care of the man.
In Lyon Valley, baby.
They thought you were Corso reincarnated coming in here today.
No, I'm not going that far now. Nobody's invited me to do anything make me famous.
Villa Rica Central is where we'll be here tonight. B92 Country, Seth Kane, Michael Miller with a contest, and also our Facebook live stream coming from here. Backyard battle. The fur will be flying, pun intended, as the cats get after each other. Villa Rica, the Cats 0-2, week off last week, so 2 weeks to get ready for this one, and Central rolled on a week ago. They are 3-0 in the year, and the Lions, number 9 in the state in Class 4A.
Yeah, this should be a good one. I think Villa Rica's had 2 weeks to prepare. They've also had 2 weeks to get some guys healthy. They've had some time to spend on themselves, and obviously they've had some extended time to prepare for Central. So I look for Villa Rica to come out strong tonight. I look for them to come out playing well, executing, flying around. And I said this in some earlier broadcasts. I think Villa Rica is a good football team. They've lost to 2 teams that are also undefeated. They lost to Troop, who's 2-0. They lost to Northgate, who's 3-0, and really had a shot to beat Northgate. So I think Villa Rica's record could be a little deceiving. I really feel like once they get into region play, they're going to be fine. But I think they really need to come out tonight, play hard, play fast, be physical. And then, hopefully maybe Central lays the ball on the ground, makes a mistake or two, and you never know. It could happen.
The other games tonight, besides our matchup here at Lyon Valley at Roy Richards Memorial Stadium, Ronnie Birchfield Field. Mount Zion's at home this evening. The Eagles are 3-0. Last time they started as good as 4-0 was back in 2020. They lost to Chattooga last year, so it's third all-time meeting between the two coming up tonight. Chattooga's at Mount Zion. Haralson County at 3-0. Maybe their toughest test coming tonight. Putnam County rolls into Taylor Stadium to match up with the Rebels. Temple is 3-0, the highest scoring team in the state in Class A's Division I. And I believe the third highest scoring team in the state when you look at all classifications. Hard to believe somebody scored more than 57.7 points a game.
They're putting them up at a high rate, that's for sure.
So Temple's at home with the Hornets of South Atlanta. Bowden's on the road down to Macon, take on west side of Macon. Raymond looks to get back in the win column tonight. They'll entertain McNair over in Ranburne, the Bulldogs will be hosting Lafayette, Alabama tonight. And in 9-man football, Holy Ground, after getting beat up a little bit last week by Cross Point Academy, they will host Peachtree Academy tonight. So that's your schedule. Heard County's got the night off. Shane Laster got 2 weeks to get ready for that bunch, and Bowden will come down to Staples Stadium to face them next week.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're on the road scouting tonight. I'm not sure if they're going to look at their region opponents or if they're they're going to make the trip to Macon either way. But I'm sure
I think they're spread out based on what he told me.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Usually you try to put eyes on more than one team at a time. So I'm sure somebody's probably going to make that ride over to Macon and go watch Bowden, because that's a big rival game, and that game's important. Even though it's a non-region game, that game matters. And obviously with Herd being under the power ranking system, it means even more probably to them than it does Bowden from that standpoint. So that should be a great one. But we got some really good ones here tonight and all through the area, and I think we got a lot to look forward to.
So we'll start breaking down the games tonight as we roll on here with the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. And the Tailgate Show also brought to you by Addison Smith, Mechanical Contractor, Amy Brown, State Farm Insurance, Brown's Pools and Spas, John Thornton Cadillac Buick GMC, Pert Disposal Services, Rainwater Funeral Home, and Evergreen Tree Service. Along with Coach Thrower, DT, I'm Mike Paris, and we're coming back. We have more. You got Joel to work over here. Wake him up, and we'll continue when we come back after this with more from Graddock Sports.
And you're off.
Benefits Consulting, our success is based on getting the best value for your healthcare benefits spent. When we hand you a check, like the back-to-back record refunds we've secured from multiple small business clients these past 2 years, we know we've accomplished our goal. That's found money. And who doesn't like finding money? So let me ask, what has your broker done for you? Call Marcy Heath at 678-821-3508 and see what Inoventive Benefits Consulting can do for you.
Are you tired of these out-of-town roofers knocking at your door? Are you tired of seeing their cheap signs on every corner? These companies have sold their souls to the big private equity companies and are not here to help you with your roof. They just want your money. Stay local with West Georgia and East Alabama's most trusted roofing company, Deep South Roofing Company. Whether your job is commercial or residential, put your faith in a company that invests in your local community. For more, visit DeepSouthRoofingCompany.com.
It's not just your car, it's the car you worked overtime so your team could drive himself to football practice. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown. My team and I understand that your car and home are things you worked really hard for, and we're here to give them the protection they deserve. Call me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, at 678-840-5000. Stop by our office on South Candler Street in Villa Rica, or visit online at amybrown.biz. We're here to help life go right.
You call the play and score big during the ultimate tailgating event at John Thornton Buick GMC with an all-out full blitz on factory incentives like $10,000 off MSRP on the new 25 GMC Sierra HG Denali models, $6,000 off MSRP on a new 25 GMC Terrain, or $3,000 off MSRP on a new 25 Buick Envista at John Thornton Buick GMC in Carrollton. GMC, we are professional grade. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. Now, let's get back to the Tailgate Show with our broadcast crew under the Deep South Roofing Company broadcast tent.
The Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. I'm Mike Paris, DT, David Thrower alongside. Thanks for joining us along the Graddock family of stations as well as our Facebook live stream. Week 4 of the high school football season. So we're 40% done when tonight's over. That's
you got 2 open weeks, so that's 12 regular season weeks. So technically.
So I got a question.
Yes, sir.
The season ends October 31st.
That's correct.
Is there another open date the next week?
Yes, November the 7th is
in case there's makeup games that have to be played.
The last 4 or 5 years with the storms that we've had down around the coast and down in southwest Georgia coming off the bay down there, we're getting multiple games that are canceled, and then they're having to play 2 and 3 games and 2 games a week or 3 games in a 10, 12-day period. So what they're trying to do now, I guess, is more or less just created an open week at the end of the season, so in case that happens, which we've already seen some weather in a couple Friday nights this year, in case we get that situation where we need that extra week for those games, that's what they kind of built it into. Then the playoffs start, I believe, the weekend November 14th.
Okay, all right.
So,
well, I know there's a couple of
weeks in.
So a couple of schools I know are open October 31st, and they planned it thinking that I guess playoffs would start the 7th, so they get 2 weeks off then.
Well, a lot of times it's based on your region schedule.
Okay.
Because, if you're in a numbered region that's got a odd number of teams, like you take the Mount Zion Bowden region's got 5 teams, so you're generally going to play your region games, the last 4 games of the season, but you've got to build in an open week because you got an odd number of teams. So with 5 teams, somebody's going to be off on those last 5 weeks, and I think Mount Zion drew the last week of the season. So that October 31st weekend, they're off. So they could possibly be off on the 31st and the November 7th, providing they make the playoffs, and then go to the first round November 14th, which is a disadvantage to me, but it's the schedule is which the way it works.
So we went through all that to get us to week 4 here. 40% of the schedule for a lot of schools done tonight.
Yeah.
Raymond's only played. This will be their 3rd one tonight. I think they
game
played
3. Yeah.
And then Hart County will have 3, I guess, after tonight as well. And then next week, Mount Zion's off, aren't they? Harrelson County's off next week.
Mount Zion's playing next week. Mount Zion don't have an open week for about 4 more games.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Harrelson County's open next week, I know. All right. Let's get back here and run down. We'll start to break down the games on the schedule for tonight. Our Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. First off, at Bremen tonight, Reading Field. It'll be the Blue Devils against McNair. Bremen 1-1. An easy win in the opener against Jordan, and then last week ran into Bowden, a buzzsaw. I think Bowden played probably as good as, I won't say as good as they can play, but pretty close to as good as they can play.
Pretty close to flawless from what I understand, what I was able to gather. But I think Bremen is set up for a bounce-back game this week with McNair. McNair's played Temple already in the opener. I actually saw about 2.5 quarters of that game. McNair's got some weapons on offense, but they had a few holes defensively. Obviously, I think Temple put up about 69 points that night. But McNair's won last week, so they should have a little momentum, and actually won a low-scoring game last week. It was like 7-6 or something like that. So I think they've got a chance to bring a pretty good athletic football team in there to Bremen tonight. But I really feel like Bremen, Coach Russell, he rallied the troops up this week, I'm sure. Probably Monday was probably a tough practice just because you're coming off that loss and everything, and you're still kind of in the – I used to call the mully grubs, Mike. The mully grubs. When your mind has told your body you can't do something, it's convinced you can't do something, kind of like me with my arthritis now. I've got the mully grubs. Well, the kids get the mully grubs too. So you try to – as a coach, you always try to defeat the mully grubs when your kids come in there. So Monday, I would imagine, was tough. Then Tuesday, I'm sure they picked it up. As the week went along, they got better and realized, hey, we got a home game Friday night. We got another opponent rolling in here. And that's the beauty of this game. You get another opportunity every 7 days.
So you saw him, Rashad Blaylock, McNair. He leads Class A, Division I, 338 receiving yards. That is 6th in all. When you combine all the classifications, that's 6th best in the state of Georgia right now. He had over 200, I think, against Temple.
He did have a big night. So, that, like I said, and their quarterback's a weapon. I mean, they've got some guys. We did a patty camp with McNair a couple years ago. It was a different coach, but they've definitely got some athletes, and they were well coached. Now I didn't. This group of coaches they got now, I didn't really see enough of them to really make a great evaluation of them. But the prior staff, I thought they did a really good job with the kids they had.
So, Bremen and McNair tonight. Last year, Bremen won at 31-14 was the final in the game over. They came to Bremen, I think, last year.
Yeah, the McNair Mustangs up at the Cab County School. I'm sure Bremen gave them a little paycheck and way more than McNair could make for a home game themselves, so they're coming to Bremen again.
So we think Bremen's probably, obviously, the nod in that one. If you're Rooster Russell and staff, what are you looking for from your guys tonight?
You want to clean up some things execution-wise. You want to go out there and exert your dominance physically, too. You really want to go out there and make a statement because Bremen's a better team than they showed last week. But Bowden's got a lot to do with some of those mistakes Bremen was forced into. So take nothing away from Bowden, but Bremen knows they got a pretty good football team. Now, how good it is, you won't really know that until later in the year. But the thing about Bremen is tonight, you're almost hitting the reset button, and you go back to work and you're trying to build from week to week. And that's what this is what the whole thing's all about. Anyhow, that's what coaching's all about. And for players, they got to take that personally too. They get better individually every day, then our team's going to get better every day. And I'm sure they're looking to clean up some mistakes and exert their dominance physically. They really want to go out there just physically from the outset and almost take their frustration out on their opponent and then get after those guys start to finish and then just see where the ball bounces.
You know who's waiting the week after, don't you, for Bremen?
It's not Harrelson.
Rabun County's coming.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's
So-
right. They got one more non-region game. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
So they got Rabun still to work.
Yeah, that'll be a challenge. That'll be a challenge. But I think Bremen played with them last year, or did they beat them? No, I think they was close. They beat them a couple years ago.
Yeah, Rabun got them, I think, last year.
Yeah, but I think Bremen beat them one time before. I think maybe they might have been when they played down at Georgia Southern in the opener down there. I think.
Yeah, that was in the Irk Russell
Classic down there. Yeah. So, but I know Bremen and Rabun's got a little history there. But now Rabun's changed coaches too. Coach Gillespie's there, who was at Brookstone, and prior to that he was at Fight Austin, Peach County, and Hart County, and he was at Georgia Southern offensive coordinator. So Rabun will be coached up, but they always are. They've always,
sling it all over the field.
Coach Gillespie will have a quarterback with the ability to throw, but he likes to run football too.
Okay.
They'll be very balanced. He'll probably be somewhere around the neighborhood of 60-40.
Okay.
But he likes to run the zone stretch, and he'll do a good job with all his kids, linemen and everything. And then he's got Bill Stewart, I think, running his defense, who was Georgia Tech's high school liaison a couple years ago, was a former high school coach and coached at Chattahoochee and all through Metro Atlanta. So he's got an experienced guy on the defensive side. So that really lets Rance kind of focus on that offense. And offensively, Rance is about good as it gets now. I've coached against him several times.
It is homecoming tonight at Bremen as well, by the way. So the Blue Devils looking for their second win, hosting the Mustangs of McNair and trying to make it 2 in a row in that series. Let's go across the border to Alabama. Rambert at home tonight. They open their region play. They'll play Lafayette. This will be the 10th meeting in the history of the series, and all those have occurred since 2010. They had never played each other, and they're, 40 miles apart, maybe something like that?
Lafayette's down there around Lynette, between kind of Lynette and Opelika, right there on 85, isn't it? Isn't that Lafayette?
Well, Lafayette's actually on 431. It's not headed down toward Auburn, 431.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's down there below West
Chambers County.
Right across the line.
Right.
Yeah, Chambers County,
Right across the line there. Of course, I think they probably were in a higher classification for a number of years.
They probably were. Yeah, I know. Rambert. Those schools down there, Valley, Lynette, Lafayette, and then, of course, you got Auburn, Opelika. They play good football down there in East Alabama.
So Lafayette, going into that matchup tonight, Rambert is 1-1, by the way, and beat them last year. Rambert did in a region game, 19-14. Interesting series. So they played 9 times. The first 4 meetings went to Rambert, and the next 4 went to Lafayette. Then Rambert got them last year. So how about this? 9 meetings, Rambert scored 227 points, and Lafayette scored 243 there. So can't get much tighter than that.
It's like Georgia and Auburn. I think about 7 or 8 years ago. You remember they come up with the stat and they both had beaten each other, because that's like the oldest rival in the South.
Yeah.
The number of wins were dead even, and the number of points were like within just a handful of each other. So, yeah, I think, hopefully Rambert will get their second win tonight playing at home. Big region game, get off to a 1-0 start. And obviously their opener was Mount Zion, who had already had a game under their belt. So I'm sure Rambert had a great effort last week to beat Woodland. Plus, that was a rival. So now you get your first region game. Now you're fired up again. So hopefully Rambert keep it going tonight.
So Lafayette is at Rambert, and in 9-man football, Holy Ground will be playing not too far from here tonight. They will entertain Peachtree Academy. They got roughed up a little bit. Cross Point, a team that went to the semifinals last year, beat up on Holy Ground last week. So Bart Gillespie's bunch trying to get back in the winning side of things.
Yeah, 1-1, and like I said, they won a big one early, and then they got pretty much taken to the woodshed last week. So hopefully they can get a bounce back tonight. They're I don't know a lot about that league. I can't sit here and say that I do, but it's kind of interesting to follow. I like to get out there and watch them practice one day, just kind of see how they do it, because 9-man football
it'd be interesting.
Got to be a little different.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know 8-man is obviously different, but 9-man, I think they put 5 men on the line of scrimmage instead of 7, which is what you normally get in National Federation High School. So it'd be interesting to go out there and see how they approach their practice and how they do that. But he's got about 24 kids out, so he's done a good job with his numbers. So
much more than he had last year.
I think last year about 14 or 15. Yeah. So yeah, obviously he's done a good job with his numbers out there, and I think that'll grow every year he's out there. Seems like a great guy, and I'm sure he's a good coach.
So that's the early start here on the Carrollton City Schools Regional Breakdown. Carrollton City Schools, we expect excellence in every person, in every program, and every performance. At Carrollton City Schools, we go for gold. We've got more to break down, more games to talk about, including this one behind us, as Central Villa Rica will meet for the 52nd time in the history of their series, coming up later on this evening, a little more than 2 hours away. Of course, we get you started with this with our Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing Broadcast tent. And then following us, it'll be the John Thornton Buick GMC Coaches Clinic, and then the broadcast, and then we wrap it up later on tonight, somewhere around 10 o'clock, with the Southwire Red Zone Show. Coach Thrower back. He will be, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, he'll just be blasting us with all his knowledge tonight when it's over with the Red Zone Show.
I wouldn't go that far. The Red Zone will be cut down to about a 5-minute show if I can tell you everything I know. It'll be one of those little tight windows there. I could write it all on Matchbox if I need to.
By the way, I should have mentioned this at the outset, and I did not. If you follow us and keep up with us every week, radio, Facebook stream, or whatever, we're missing a teammate tonight here tonight. Jay Webb is on a mission trip. He is in Kenya. He won't be with us tonight, but he will be back with us next week. So,
looking forward to hearing about that trip.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some interesting stories.
I'd like to hear about that. That's got to be a pretty neat, and that's obviously a mission.
Right.
It's more than just a mission trip. That's a man on a mission right there to take a group of folks out there to try to do work and help in those communities and do everything they can to provide assistance to those people. So it's just that's a higher calling than I coaching's one. That's a high calling, but I got to give it up for Jay for this one. This one he's reaching pretty high on this one.
The Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent will continue. Swole Joel eating his banana, trying to add another ounce or two over there. He's afraid he's going to get cramps. So he's getting some potassium in his body.
I think he got a smoothie and he got real jacked up because I pulled up and he was carrying 2 tents up the hill, jogging backwards, working on his back pedal, and broke down to a little karaoke on the way. So Joel was jacked up when I got here earlier. So let's see if he can keep it going to midnight tonight. I'm gonna find out what he's got, what kind of endurance he's got.
Coming up when we get back, we'll break down some more of the other games. Maybe your favorite school. We'll talk more high school football. We continue with the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. We're back with more from Graddock Sports in a moment.
What if you could turn your healthcare expense into a competitive advantage? At Inoventive Benefits Consulting, we engineer benefit strategies that cut costs by 30 to 40% without cutting the quality your employees deserve. Put control back in your hands. Stop overpaying. Start outperforming. Let's make your healthcare plan work for you, not against you. Call 678-821-3508 today. Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Smarter benefits. Stronger bottom line.
With over 50 years in the business, Brown's Pools and Spas has exactly what you need to make your backyard fun. Not enough room for an in-ground pool? No problem. Kick off the 2025 swim season right with our wide selection of above-ground pools and hot tubs. Brown's Pools and Spas also offers a variety of steps, ladders, pool lights, pump timers, cleaners, and more. Make this swim season the most memorable yet with Brown's Pools and Spas. In Carrollton, Noonan, Dallas, and Douglasville. Online at brownspools.com.
At Rainwater Funeral Home, we create honoring and healing experiences. Our staff members guide your family in creating a meaningful ceremony to honor the life and memory of a loved one, whether it be simple or elaborate, traditional or unique. No matter how it's tailored, we understand a ceremony is an important step in recovering from loss. Rainwater Funeral Home is a family business, so we understand the importance of giving each and every family we serve the level of attention they deserve. Rainwater Funeral Home on North Carroll Street in Bowden and online at rainwaterfuneralhome.com.
Addison Smith has been giving you more since 1954. Not only heating and air, but comfort and reliability. More means honesty. More means integrity. More means finding solutions. More means 24-hour care for your home and your family. Your family is important to us. Right now, they're offering 100% financing with every repair. Visit us online at addisonsmith.net to see what more means and know that when you call Addison Smith, you're calling family. Addison Smith is an authorized Carrier dealership. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Let's get back to the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show.
It's sunny and warm. Boy, it's a beautiful September day. Bring me fall. Get it here in a hurry. Boy, it's been nice all week long until today. Warming up. 87 degrees here as we draw closer. About 2 hours. Well, still a little more than 2 hours away from kick tonight. Central will host Villa Rica down here behind us. Tell you what, this is a nice setup here, too. It's a beautiful
facility. I really every time I played here, I always enjoyed coming over here. It's a nice place. Really good place to play high school football.
Here, Mount Zion, Temple?
No, Villa Rica. We played here. Yeah. I think we played Central 5 times when I was at Villa Rica. And then when I was at True County, we scrimmaged Central when Bill was the head coach, Bill Bailey. our head coach and Bill were pretty good friends. So we scrimmaged them up here a couple of times. So I probably coached here 4 or 5 different times.
Wow.
Yeah. If I was at Troop for 7 years, I know we scrimmaged Central at least 3 or 4 of those years. So. But anyhow, that was always a.
It's
but
changed a little bit
here.
from the first time that I came in here. Back
absolutely.
in 1979. I can.
Well, it's changed. I was at Villa Rica from 04 to 11, and we played here. I think we played here 5 times, we played them 5 times. We played them here, I guess, 2 or 3 times. But it's changed a lot since then.
I love talking to kids, and they start asking you when you started and all this stuff, and you throw out 19 there with that first 2 numbers. They look at you like you're
ancient.
Oh, you're mummified or something, All right, let's get back to the Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. We talked about Bremen at home tonight as they celebrate homecoming. Bowden's on the road. Temple going to be at home, and Mount Zion at home tonight. Red Devils, pretty impressive last week. Watched the first half of that one. Big plays, but also they were pretty good up front, I thought, both sides of the football on the line of scrimmage. And they beat Bremen 48-7. 5th straight year they've won that matchup between the 2 old rivals. So now, number 3 in the state, Class A Division II, they head to Macon, take on Westside. The Seminoles are 1-2. Any chance of a letdown for Bowden tonight down there?
Well, it's a long road trip. Not an easy ride either. Getting to Macon is not easy from here. But, Bowden's used to traveling. They've been on the road in the playoffs and that type of stuff. So I don't think that'll be an issue. Westside is, I think there's 6 high schools in Bibb County, so the talent's kind of spread out a little bit. But Westside has traditionally been the best program of the public schools of Bibb County over the last, really since it opened. It opened in the late 90s. And they've only had 2 head coaches. And Coach Davis left Warner Robins to go to Westside. That was Coach Finley's high school coach was Robert Davis. He went to Westside, opened it up. He stayed there about 10 years. And then Shedrick Risper, also known as Spoon, that's his nickname. So I think Spoon played at West Georgia with Coach Finley, if I'm not mistaken. But Spoon's been at Westside as the head coach probably 20 years, close to it, 18.
Wow.
And he's done a great job of that program. Tough place. Tough school day. It's one of those places. It's challenging, but Spoon has held that program together and won a lot of football games. Had a lot of 2nd and 3rd round teams. He's had some good years, 7, 8, 9 wins, won a couple region championships. So he's a good football coach.
The 2 teams had not faced off until last year. Bowden won the first meeting at Bowden. 56-27 was the final last year.
Yeah.
Had a good night there. Red Devils, remember, got shut out in the opener, 26-0. Fellowship Christian beat them. So, but they are still the 3rd highest scoring team in the state in Class A Division II. They're averaging 34.3 points per game going into that one tonight.
Well, yeah, and their offense, they got weapons. They ran into a buzzsaw against Fellowship, and still that early in the year and trying to fit all the pieces of the puzzle together. A couple new coaches over there. You're trying to kind of fill everything out. You get an idea in the scrimmage games. But you don't always really know the truth until you line up and play. And, of course, you're still figuring things out even in game 3, 4, and 5. But, every week it's like a math problem. You try to figure it out a little bit at a time, algebra, and try to work those steps and try to get to where you need to be. And that's kind of the way most teams are. Each week you're trying to find your weaknesses and kind of shore them up and then keep improving on your strengths and just go from there. So I look for Bowden to win tonight. I think they'll win. 3 touchdowns. I think it'll be a good win for them, but I think Westside will be a hard-nosed opponent, though.
Well, didn't get off to a great start, but Mr. Prothrow, I think, still top 15 in the state in receiving yardage overall. Top 20 in the state overall, and he is top 5 in the state, I think, in Class A Division II.
Well, and with his size and his range and his athletic ability, it's like I think I made the comment last week or 2 weeks ago that even when he's covered, he's open. If that ball's supposed to go to him, let's get it up in the air and let's get it to him because sometimes it's about calling ball players and not ball plays. I'm sure you've heard that one before, right. So especially when you get down there in the red zone. So, you want to get it to your best people. And obviously he's the best guy on the field probably 15 nights this year. You know what I mean?
More of the Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown also tonight at Temple. Highest scoring team, Class A's Division I. The Tigers 3-0 in the year. The Hornets coming in. South Atlanta 1-2. Temple beat them last year. First ever meeting, 34-21 was the final in that get-together a season ago. They have just been really unstoppable offensively so far.
They have, and they've gotten the answers too. And they returned the bulk of their offensive line from last year. And they were good offensively last year, but they really kind of put the pieces together, and they got a quarterback who's been there his third year in that offense. So that young man, Gribben, has really done a good job. I think he's improved every year, and he's continuing to get better. He can make some plays in the pass game, even if they don't throw it a lot. A lot of times in that offense, when you do throw it, they're big plays because it's a lot of play action, and those safeties are having to come up and play the run, and then you get a chance to get those long balls. They've had 2 or 3 of those already, and they'll probably have some more tonight. I think
the Jones kid's been pretty good.
He's solid. I found out from Coach Jason Robinson, that JoJo, I think he goes by JoJo, his dad was a great running back at Villa-Rica right before I got there, like in 02, 03, Sergio Jones.
Okay.
And great player, not a big back, but a great just vision runner. I remember seeing film of him, and my first year there at Villa-Rica was the year after he graduated, and I think he'd come around some of that spring practice and whatnot, so I didn't really know him well, but the coaches that were there on that staff that coached him thought a lot of him. Obviously, he's passed a lot of that on to his son. His son's obviously a good football, bigger kid too, good-sized kid, so he's a that running back ability, that gene got passed on to his son because his son's a good player too.
They gave up some stuff to McNair in the opener, but the last 2 weeks they played much better defense.
They have, and South Atlanta has struggled to score. I think they've only got 3 or 4 touchdowns all year.
7-0, I think, is their victory last week.
So they've had some problems offensively, so I'm not sure if they found their identity yet or not. And South Atlanta's usually a decent team. Like I said, they played Temple tough last year, but don't appear to be quite as strong as they were. I know Hurd roughed them up a couple weeks ago, but Hurd's going to rough up a lot of people. But I really feel like Temple's got a good shot to have a big night tonight, too. I don't know if they'll get 57, but I think they'll have a big night.
South Atlanta, as you mentioned, some athletes in my work at Jacksonville State, we had a couple of guys off the same team that were with us for their
they've
careers.
had some big-time basketball players come through there, too. They've had some NBA-type guys come through there, so they've got some athletes in that part of the world for sure.
So we had a defensive end and a nose man that came from South Atlanta, played for us, and
they won a region championship.
Yeah.
They actually beat Hurd one year. I looked it up because I was looking up the week they played Hurd. They beat Hurd one year. I can't remember if it was a playoff game or regular season game, but maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, South Atlanta. They had a couple pretty good teams. I know the coach at Chapel Hill now was at South Atlanta, and I think he won a region championship. And then the guy from Hardaway left, and he took that job when Brad Stevens left, and then they had a couple good years with the coach Hardaway from Hardaway. I think it was Michael Woolridge, but he's since left. So when you just go changing coaches every 2 or 3 years, it's hard to just build that continuity. But no, South Atlanta, that area in there has got a lot of athletes. You just hope you got them in your building because a lot of people like to move around a lot in that area. It's very transient.
Temple 3-0, trying to get to 4-0 are the Tigers. And let's see, I think one time in school history they've been 4-0. That was in 2016. Scotty Ward was the head coach.
Okay, that might have been Scotty's first year, maybe.
And Corey Nix was on the staff at that time.
Defense coordinator.
Yeah. And that was so they went 4-0. That's, to this point, the best start in Temple football history.
I thought Marty Wild had a year in there where he started out like 4 or 5-0.
Maybe my research is not correct.
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking Marty was there for about 8 or 9 years. He's probably Seth was there for a good while too. I'm not sure. Marty was there for 8 or 9 years, and then Seth was there 8 or 9 years. I think Marty had a team around 2000, 2001.
I'll go back and check that out.
Maybe 4-0, 5-0, and then they got in a region play, and things kind of changed a little bit. But yeah, I think he's still around this area. Marty's a great guy.
And in this segment, our last Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown of a game tonight. Last time Mount Zion started the year 4-0 was 2020, and they actually started 6-0 that year. But the last time they got to 4 straight wins.
They had a really good play caller on that team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did. They had a guy. He knew what he was doing. So. No, I'm just kidding. But
I wonder who that was at that point in time. I thought you were a defensive guy.
No, I coached offensive line, and I did the offense in 20 and 21 those 2 years. I told Brad I didn't want to get into this anything any longer. Find somebody else.
So there's a guy walking by. I'm so old, I remember when he played high school football.
Local legend here.
I'm telling you. Come on, get on camera over here, big boy.
You're good. What'd you do, rough up your son? You break your wrist?
I was going to say, you get old, you got to wrap it.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Man.
That's called old age, Duffy.
Hope it heals up, brother.
Tim Duffy, who does PA here, played years ago. A few years ago. Maybe I should put it that way here.
The Duffy name is pretty synonymous.
Right.
What's the word?
Synonymous?
Synonymous for Central High and Lion Valley in this area. I think that's pretty much steeped in tradition here with their family name.
I got sidetracked. Sorry about that. So Mount Zion 3-0. Chattooga's 0-2. Chattooga has won the first 2 meetings, the only 2 meetings they've ever played, including last year up in Somerville, that area up there, winning last year 45-20 over Mount Zion. Mount Zion, how about this? 3 games into the season, second in Class A Division II, giving up an average of 4 points per game through the first 3 weeks.
That makes your defensive coaches proud, that's for sure. So, and I think they're mad about that because I think they turned it over down there deep one time and kind of gave them 1 touchdown. And so they probably weren't happy about that either. So they've played good defense. They've
been better on defense so far this year than they were early in the season last year.
Oh
right?
My God, it's about night and day. It's no question. Their interior, and they're young too.
Yeah.
Like they've got a sophomore defensive end who's got a motor. I think it's Omarion Dallas. That young man's got a motor now. He plays, and then they got a linebacker sophomore, Brody Heinzman, and then I'm just naming the young kids, and then they got a free safety back there. I think it's Jordan Smith. He lays the wood to you now. He's a thumper. And then they still got Jay Nackey, who's been a 3-year starter, and he's kind of the heart of that defense. And I think he was honorable mention All-State last year. He's a good player, and they roll in a lot of defensive linemen. They got a lot more depth up front than they've had in the past probably 5 or 6 years because they've got some young kids that are playing in there. Brady Denny's been around that program for 4 years. Avery Weldon. They got some other young kids. Those are seniors, but they've got some Knox is playing linebacker.
Knox is real
part-time. Yeah. He's coming in there and playing some linebacker.
Starting quarterback and playing linebacker, inside.
That's 1984. That's Class A football at its finest, baby. I told was that first show, that's what I say, Nate. That's spot-built cleats and neck rolls and forearm shiver pads.
Nail shorts.
Yeah, and then you just take your pad off when you go play quarterback, throw them to the side. You got the big, bulky shoulder pads.
What's that guy's name? Swole Joel? Who's the guy that we like?
Swole Joel, baby.
No, your guy. What that name that we?
Oh, Skibo Musselwhite.
Yeah, Skibo.
Skibo Musselwhite, a softball legend back in South Georgia back in the day. He was an excellent football player too. Right Oster guy. He was a dude now.
You know a little bit more about Mount Zion than the rest of us, but offensively, as you say, they got some dudes on that side of the football.
They
too.
do. They got really a good 1-2 punch in the backfield. Rashard Montgomery and Keziah Aki, both running backs, have got their threat to take it to the house. Keziah is probably more of a breakaway guy. He's been placed in the top 8 in the 100 meters. I think he was 3rd one year and maybe 5th the next year in the 100 meters in Class A. And then Rashad is a great vision runner, really hits the hole and kind of bounces it. And, a true running back, and he's got good speed too. But what I'm saying is they're a good 1-2 punch. And then you got Knox at quarterback in his 3rd year, and he's solid. I mean, he's just he can run the football too, and he's got a good arm. And then they've got a couple weapons out there out wide. So they've got some guys in their offensive line. Is probably maybe the most improved area of the team. Last year they started all freshmen and sophomores for the most part, and those kids have got a year under their belt, and they're still young, but they've got a lot of experience, a lot of playing time under their belt. Coach Barrett's done a great job with those kids. I know he works them guys every day and gets everything he can out of those young men. So Mount Zion and Harrelson would definitely get the vote for the most improved 2 teams, I think, so far in this season, like in our area for sure. Both of those teams have come a long way.
So what is it, 4-team region? Mount Zion, Bowden?
5, I'm
sorry.
You got Greenville, Manchester, Mount Zion, Bowden, Tryon.
Okay. But they're just looking at scores, Mount Zion's got a chance to finish. You think Bowden's probably going to win the region. They got a shot to finish too, don't they?
You'd love to host a playoff game. Mount Zion hadn't hosted one since 2018. So it'd be great. That'd be great for them. But, I know Brad don't want to hear that. He's getting way ahead of where we need to be on this one. But you're right. I think they've got a shot. Manchester graduated a ton, and they had that same group of kids for 3 years basically playing, some of them even 4 years. Tryon, same thing. They had a huge senior class last year, and it was about the 3rd year in a row Tryon has graduated a bunch of kids. And in Class A ball, I don't care who you are, Urban County's going through it right now, eventually numbers catch up to you. And if you don't have, if you've got those kids and for a 5 or 6 year period that you're going to be able to make a run, and you're going to be talented. You're going to have lineman and skill at the same time. And then the well can run dry. And when it runs dry, it usually stays dry for a couple of years. And that's kind of what happened to Mount Zion the last couple of years. They were very young, and they've taken some licks the last couple of years. But now some of those kids like Knox and Jay Nackey and Kazai and Rashard, they've taken those lumps, and now they're in their 3rd year, and they're starting to kind of get some payback. And that's just kind of the way of the world in Class A football when you don't have a lot of kids on your roster.
So we got to give DT a raise here. I just got a text. I was trying to look it up while you were talking, and somebody beat me to it. So the 2001 edition of the Temple Tigers started 4-0. They finished 5-5. So it was more.
They had Robert Reese on that team, and he signed at Clemson. He was probably maybe the biggest recruit Temple's probably ever had. I think he was a 5th grader when I left Temple. I coached at Temple 94, 95, and he was in that little young. Because our school was 5 through 12 back then,
right, on
the same campus. Well, can you imagine that? 5 through 12 on the same campus.
They didn't start football till what, late 80s?
88, 89,
yeah.
Around there. I think we were the 2 years I was there, I think we were the 5th and 6th year maybe, or maybe the 6th. I know I was there in 94, 95 football season, so they started around 88, 89 somewhere. And I think they played a JV schedule one year, and then they played varsity maybe the following year. So it was a very young program, and we didn't have a lot. But our kids, man, that was one of the most fun coaching experiences I ever had. There were some guys on that team that you talking about just sold out and worked their butt off, and took a lot of pride in everything they did. That was as great a start you could have for a career in terms of just enjoying yourself every day, coming to work and working with kids.
Our Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. As we go through those games, we got some more to come. Carrollton City Schools, we are the standard for achievement, innovation, service, and success. If you want to see why, schedule a tour, Carrollton City Schools. We will continue with the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. We are live from Lion Valley, Central, Villa Rica, the backyard battle coming up tonight. Meeting number 52. We'll get to that game and some of the others as well. We're back with more. Stay with us. We're coming back for our Tailgate Show in a moment here from Braddock Sports.
At Inoventive Benefits Consulting, our success is based on getting the best value for your healthcare benefits spent. When we hand you a check, like the back-to-back record refunds we've secured for multiple small business clients these past 2 years, we know we've accomplished our goal. That's found money. And who doesn't like finding money? So let me ask, what has your broker done for you? Call Marcy Heath at 678-821-3508 and see what Inoventive Benefits Consulting can do for you.
When you need the job done right, trust your neighbors at Burt Disposal Services. Burt Disposal has been providing West Georgia homes and businesses with roll-off containers since 1996. Their team is professional, dependable, and can be on site with a 10, 20, 30, or 40-yard roll-off container for your next commercial or residential project. Construction debris, yard waste, don't get hurt, call Burt. To learn more, call 770-826-6789. Online at PurtDisposal.com. When you need tree service, make the call to Evergreen Tree Services, your local trusted service provider. Evergreen Tree and Right-of-Way Services deliver over 25 years of experience, integrity, expertise, and peace of mind. We have the equipment to get the job done right. When you need someone to handle those troublesome tree projects, give Evergreen Tree Service a call at 770-214-7339. Evergreen Tree Services, individual care, dependable service, and industry professionals.
Are you tired of these out-of-town roofers knocking at your door? Are you tired of seeing their cheap signs on every corner? These companies have sold their souls to the big private equity companies and are not here to help you with your roof. They just want your money. Stay local with West Georgia and East Alabama's most trusted roofing company, Deep South Roofing Company. Whether your job is commercial or residential, put your faith in a company that invests in your local community. For more, visit DeepSouthRoofingCompany.com.
Now, let's get back to the Tailgate Show with our broadcast crew under the Deep South Roofing Company broadcast tent.
The Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show, just like Michael told you, under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. We are week 4 of the high school football season. Our Tailgate Show also brought to you by Addison Smith Mechanical Contractor, Amy Brown State Farm, Brown's Pools and Spas, John Thornton Cadillac, Buick GMC, Pert Disposal Services, Rainwater Funeral Home, and Evergreen Tree Service. Of course, we talk about Inoventive Benefits Consulting every week. They're located in Bremen and in Villa Rica. They are beyond the status quo. Benefits consultants, beyond the status quo at Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Nope, I knew I forgot to hit it again. I can't see out here. Sunlight takes away. I can't tell if it's on or not. That is, for those of you watching us on our Facebook live stream, that is.
But you're handing me something.
No, I'm just waving it around. I'm not supposed to do that, I don't think. DT, Coach David Thrower. I'm Mike Parris. Swole Joel. I'm going to go ahead and use it right now.
Go for it.
141.3 pounds of
twisted steel
and
sex appeal. The man, the myth, the legend.
We got to get a camera behind us to shoot him all the time.
He is the man.
What are you bench pressing now? About 250? Oh, yeah, 300 is what he's
knocking out reps at 250. What are you talking about? He's hitting that for sets of 4.
Oh, let's get the train back on the track here. We continue with our Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. Carrollton City Schools, character, courage, and community are what we're all about. If you want to learn more, schedule a tour, Carrollton City Schools. So we've gone through some of the games tonight. We got a couple other big ones coming up involving Carrollton. There's one of them. The Trojans going to be at home tonight. They entertain the Lions of Lithia Springs. Last year, I found this hard to believe. Never played before till last year. 63-0 the final. Carrollton won that one. 22 straight regular season games since Carrollton has suffered a regular season setback. The opener of 2023, Langston Hughes beat them 39-34, 22 straight since.
You're saying they never played before till last year?
Yeah.
And it was 63-0?
Yeah.
Are we sure Lithia's going to show up tonight? Are we sure they're going to be there?
They're supposed to
What's
be.
The fine? What's the fine if you just forfeit one right now? 5:30.
I can't answer that question.
On Friday night. No, Lithia Springs, I think they changed coaches again this year too. That's a Douglas County school. You know, there's multiple schools in that
the
county.
guy that was there went to KIP.
That guy's got a great record. Corey Jarvis has been all over. I mean, he is a good football coach. He actually had Lithia in the playoffs a couple of times.
Right.
Lithia hadn't been in the playoffs since Hitler was a corporal. I mean, it's been a long time for Lithia Springs to have any success, and he actually was around 6-4 a couple times and did a pretty good job of that program. Played good defense. Corey always put a good defense on the field. But, sometimes you just don't have the bullets. And Carrollton, the thing about the Trojans, they got a say in the tradition never graduates. And, baby, it don't. And they won one last week that they probably didn't feel like they played their very best. And I didn't talk to anybody over there this week, but I could just tell. I watched Coach King's interview on his post game, and you could feel like he's one of those games we just survived. But I'm going to tell you something. When you go on the road and you play a quality team like that and it's ugly, and you're behind, and you're hitting adversity, and then you find a way to win it at the end, that says a lot about your football team. So you find out more about your team in those situations you do in some games where you're really going to just hammer somebody from the get-go. So
when you get as you get later in the season, region play, it might be Douglas County, or if you're into the playoffs. I mean, that's one game you can probably harken back to.
Absolutely,
things are not going well.
Hey, we're kind of. What's the old saying in Rudy? When the breaks are beating the boys, you know what I mean? We got to rim one for the Gipper. Well, that's the thing about Carrollton is this. Though I look at it like this. They had a lot of attention the last few years with Juju Lewis, who's one of the top recruits in the country. Everybody knows that, and they had a lot of other great players too, and they still got great football players. But the thing about it is, I think it's hard to say they're under the radar because they're ranked about 3rd or 4th or 5th in the state. But they're not drawing the attention statewide that they did because they did have Juju the last 3 years. But sometimes in those situations with your football team, it's almost a blessing in disguise because other guys have to step up. A lot of times when you get a guy of that high profile as Juju Lewis, sometimes other kids are almost waiting for him to make that play when we got to have it. But Carrollton still got the same expectations. They still got the same great level of coaching. They still got all the tradition and pride and everything that kind of goes in a program like that. And sometimes those other kids will step up in that situation, almost kind of like backs against the wall, us against the world. Hey, we're going to come out and prove it this time. People think we're not going to be as good. And the sum of your parts become greater. You may not have that one guy that's being recruited by everybody in the nation. Now, they still got recruits, obviously, but they may not have that one guy that's ranked in the top 5 or top 10 in the country, but they still, you still got good football players. But the sum of your parts, everybody together has stepped it up a notch, and it's not always that case in game 1, but a lot of times by game 10, 11, 12, 13, those guys have kind of grown together. They've become more connected, and you end up with a better result at the end. So I'm pulling for those guys. I think they do a great coaching job, and just I got a lot of respect for that program. Just really do.
So Ryan Mosley, Georgia commit, quietly 11th in the state when all classifications combined. He's 11th in the state pass receiving yardage, top 10 in the state, obviously, then in Class 6A in what they've done so far at Carrollton. And Zakiah Helton had the Thrifttown sack with Matt Skinner's call last week. He had a big sack.
And he's primarily an offensive lineman, but he's playing some defense now. So, like I said, and I don't think he played much defense at all last year, maybe not at all. So, like I said, sometimes you got to have those guys step up in another role. And he's a young man who's been through some adversity. He had some health issues younger, and then really kind of had to fight back and get where he's at. So, I don't know him, but I've always heard good things about that young man. And anytime you get an offensive lineman type guy making plays like that, I got to give kudos to them guys.
You're a little partial to those guys.
Got to love the big boys now.
Carrollton, number 4 in the state, Class 6A at 3-0. Lithia Springs 1-1 coming in. Trojans host them tonight at Grisham Stadium. Carry that game on KISS 102.7. Matt Skinner, call with you coming up tonight at around 7:20 or so. Going to get them on the air and get them going tonight. And as we continue with the Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown, big one tonight, Taylor Stadium in Tallapoosa. Haralson County, last time they started 4-0. Scott Peavy's bunch in 2020 was 4-0 that year.
Right.
And they'll get a Putnam County team. The War Eagles last year, 28-3 win over the Rebels. And they are 1-2. They each have beaten Greene County as a common opponent.
Right.
And Putnam's had a couple of losses. I got to believe this is probably tonight going to be the first big test for the Rebels in the matchup.
Yeah, I think so, too. And Putnam's lost 2, but they lost to 2 very quality teams. Especially Morgan County. Morgan's ranked in top 5 in AA, and then they lost to Laney, which is traditionally a pretty good program over in Richmond County, probably the best program in Richmond County public schools. So they're 1-2, but their record could be a little deceiving. You know, Putnam came over and played Temple last year in the first round, and they had a good game with them. Temple ended up beating them, but it turned out to be a good football game. So I think Putnam bring a pretty good football team over there tonight. They got an experienced head coach. Be interesting to see how that one shakes out. I really feel like Harrelson's kind of riding some momentum, which is always good. You got to feel like you're getting confidence. The important thing is, we got to continue to do all the things that got us where we're at. We got to make sure we're hitting all those reps in the weight room. If we got a set of 8, we're not stopping on 6. You know what I mean? We got to run those sprints through the line, and then we work those drills. We got to finish the run. We got to finish the block. We got to wrap up on that tackle. So. What you don't want to do is to start to feel like you feel too good about yourself. You know what I mean? And that can happen, especially with a bunch of young kids. It can happen to young coaches. I used to fuss on a couple young coaches every now and then when they'd make a comment or two that I didn't take time out now. We ain't beat nobody yet. We ain't beat nobody county yet. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying Harrelson had. I'm just saying like the region games and when you get the playoffs, that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting. But I feel like Harrelson's on the right track. But that should be a good football game tonight. It should be fairly evenly matched. I think Harrelson's going to get the edge. But I think Putnam, like you said, will be the biggest test tonight they've seen this year.
Well, Kemp Boyd last year, wide receiver, had a few carries, but they've turned him into a machine at, I guess, inside reverses, playing basically a wing sort of. He is top 20 in the state when all classifications are included, top 10 in the state. Class A Division I through 3 games, 459 rushing yards.
Well, we had a guy like that at Mount Zion a few years ago named C.J. Ackles. And I told somebody, a recruiter came in one time, and he asked me about C.J. I said, look, brother, I said, let me tell you something. I said, he can catch it, he can run it, he can throw it, he can kick it, and he can defend it. Now, what else you need him to do? Because he can do it. And Boyd is kind of that kind of guy for Haralson County. I don't know if he can kick, but, a guy like that, you're going to try to get him in the reverse game. You're going to try to get him to a couple of gadget plays, punt returns, kick returns. Obviously, you're going to throw it to him. You're going to let him run it from scrimmage. You may, if he can throw, I'm throwing a halfback pass with him because I'm sure when they see him with the ball, everybody's going to converge on him. So a guy like that's a true weapon, and he's just a junior.
Yes,
guy's got another year. So
they had 2 backs. He and Joel McCoy both over 100 yards rushing last week.
And that's good too when you got that complement guy. You got another guy that's another weapon. They can't gang up on one guy. But I mean, Boyd's the guy that most eyes are going to be on, obviously. But that helps those other backs, and if they'll block for each other and do the little gritty things that everybody don't see, but they show up on film, it makes a huge difference. So
I saw them last year. I did the Haralson County games for Gradic Sports. And being on the sidelines of Pike County game and then talking to Randy Crutchfield last year, his first year as a head coach, first head coaching job. He's a little more, I'll say, relaxed maybe. Right. I won't say he was uptight. Maybe he's just more confident right now.
I think that's human nature. Yeah. You've been through it for a year now, and I just think that's human nature. I think that's probably a situation where, he probably feels that first year, hey, you're being scrutinized for everything he does and that kind of thing. But the bottom line is you got to figure out you just got to be yourself and coach your kids to the best of your ability and try to get them to buy into what your belief is and what you're trying to do and get your coaches to follow along and everybody to kind of jump on the same bandwagon. Let's see where we can take this thing.
So, Haralson County at home tonight as they entertain Putnam County. This is only the second meeting ever between the two. Last year was the first time they'd ever got together on the gridiron. It'll be a great crowd down there for that one tonight. And they do start them young in Haralson County. Middle school football yesterday. They beat Bremen 22-6. Some old guy named Patterson was pretty happy when that one was over yesterday, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I bet he was. He knows everything Haralson County and then some. I mean, he's not just a Haralson County historian, but
he knows it all.
He's definitely a North Georgia historian. He's really a statewide historian.
Get him to tell you about the old region they used to be in AA years ago, back in the late 70s and early 80s.
We had that conversation over there at the Bremen Mount Zion scrimmage. That's the first time I'd ever really sat down and talked to him. Like, had a real live conversation with him other than just speaking to him when I saw him at a ball game or something. But, he's knowledgeable as he gets now. And just a humble guy, good as gold. He's the kind of guy every community needs, but not everybody's got.
He loves his Rebels.
Ain't no doubt. For that. Ain't no doubt.
We got one more game to talk about here as we continue Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown, and we'll get to our game that's here tonight between the Central Lions, Villarica Wildcats. Carrollton City Schools, we expect excellence in every person, in every program, and every performance. At Carrollton City Schools, we go for gold. We will continue in a moment the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. Don't be taken advantage of by out-of-town roofers. Trust the only hometown roofing company. From inspection to repairs to replacements, insurance claims, they've been serving the local community for a number of years here in the West Georgia and East Alabama area. Deep South Roofing, dedicated, dependable, and a proud sponsor of high school sports. We continue our one final segment. We come back here to Lion Valley on our Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show from Graddick Sports.
What if you could turn your healthcare expense into a competitive advantage? At Inoventive Benefits Consulting, we engineer benefit strategies that cut costs by 30 to 40% without cutting the quality your employees deserve. Put control back in your hands. Stop overpaying. Start outperforming. Let's make your healthcare plan work for you, not against you. Call 678-821-3508 today. Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Smarter benefits. Stronger bottom line.
You call the play and score big during the ultimate tailgating event at John Thornton Buick GMC with an all-out full blitz on factory incentives like $10,000 off MSRP on the new 25 GMC Sierra HD Denali models, $6,000 off MSRP on a new 25 GMC Terrain, or $3,000 off MSRP on a new 25 Buick Envista at John Thornton Buick GMC in Carrollton. GMC, we are professional grade. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details.
It's not just your home or your car. It's the hours you spend in your kitchen mastering your legendary wing recipe and packing the family in the car as you head to the high school tailgate. While other companies just call it bundling, at State Farm, we see your home and your auto as the time and memories you make with them. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown. I understand what your family, home, and auto really means to you. Come see me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, on South Candler Street in Villarica to make sure you're getting the insurance protection that you deserve.
Warm weather is here, and you know what that means. Cookouts, pool parties, and calm morning sipping coffee. Thankfully, Brown's Pools and Spas is your one-stop shop for chemicals, automatic cleaners, and big green eggs. Don't have time to keep your pool and spa water sparkling? Let the pros at Brown's Pools do it for you. Get the best deals and the best selection at one of our 4 locations in Carrollton, Noonan, Dallas, and Douglasville. For more information or to schedule a quote, visit brownspools.com.
Let's get back to the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show.
We are live from Lion Valley, our weekly Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. One last segment to get us through. Coaches Clinic straight ahead. We got a visit with all the head coaches in the area coming up. That follows our show. And then to the field, to the live broadcast tonight. KISS 102.7. It's Carrollton versus Lithia Springs. King Country 93.7, 101.9. Haralson County, Putnam County matchup. And then Great Classics 98.9. You got Mount Zion, Chattooga. And right here, B92 Country. Two guys with faces for radio, Seth Kane and Michael Miller with a call of the game coming up here tonight. And it'll be a Facebook live streaming contest as well. So
I would never make that comment because, trust me.
It's used quite frequently in the radio.
But they're like Tom Brady compared to me. So I'm going to have to I give both them guys props. Okay.
You guys better hope that's recorded somewhere. That's the only time you'll ever be compared to Tom Brady in your lives. Probably.
That's Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady. So there you go, right there. Jimmy G and Tom.
Jimmy G's got some stories now.
Jimmy G's been around the block, I think. But
played against Jimmy G.
He's still playing. He's had a good career. Made a lot of money.
He was in the league. It's that time. Played against him 3 years when he was at Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois, yeah.
What Super Bowl winning coach played quarterback at Eastern Illinois?
Sean Payton.
Dang, I thought I'd get that one by you. Who else coached there prior to Sean Payton? Super Bowl winning coach prior
Bill
to
Parcells?
Nope. Mike Shanahan was there at one time.
That's probably a connection there. Yeah. Those two. I didn't know that. Okay.
Interesting note. Not that it'll earn you any points with it.
But, I said Parcells like I knew the answer. Even though I didn't know the answer, I did not know. I said it like I knew because I want to have some confidence when I said it, just in case I was right.
You think Parcells called Belichick this week?
I bet you Belichick's talking to Saban.
You think so?
Well, he needs some help on the college game because it's different.
Let me tell you. Any rumor in the world is coming out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama right now. That's another story for another day.
Yeah, it'd be a whole other 2-hour show.
Yes, it would be. We could spend the rest of the day talking about that. All right, back to the Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown, the final game of the night. And it's a game that will take place behind us here, Lion Valley, Roy Richards Memorial Stadium, Ronnie Birchfield Field. Tonight, the Lions, number 9 in the state class 4A and at 3-0. Villa Rica's 0-2, but as you mentioned, losing to Troup County, Northgate, two teams that are unbeaten. They were open last week. They've had injuries. It started really, I think, late before the season started, and of course carried over into the season. So your thoughts as you look at this one tonight, how do you break it down?
I think this is going to be a sneaky close game.
Okay.
Central is obviously a good football team. They're 3-0 for a reason, and they've got some good wins. They've got two big-time convincing wins, and then they got a huge on-the-road win against a really good Oxford team where they had to come from behind. Villa Rica's 0-2, but I think they're better than their record. They've lost to two good teams. They've had a lot of injuries. They're starting to slowly get some guys back, so they're starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I still think Villa Rica is going to be a very competitive team when they hit the region, and I feel like tonight they're going to be a very competitive team out here on this field behind us, and that, if you're Villa Rica, you don't want to give up the big plays. That's the thing. Defensively, you've got to make them snap it again, because if they snap it again, there's a chance they're going to make a mistake. If they catch it and go 70, or they run it for 80, or they run the kickoff back for 95, and that starts happening, then you're going to get behind the 8 ball, and it's going to get out of hand.
The more the Walton boys touch it, the better the likelihood that they're going to break one at some point in time.
True, but you got to rally up and tackle, and that's the thing. And you got to have more than one guy at the point of attack to make the play. So the line of scrimmage will be big, and I think Villa Rica can keep it a game. I really do. Now, they got to do some things right, but if you're Villa Rica, you got to hope to get the game to the fourth quarter within striking distance, and then hopefully maybe the ball bounce your way. Villa Rica will probably need to steal a touchdown. To win a game like this, and this is what we always did, when we played somebody that we knew we were going to be the underdog, we were going to run a trick play somewhere in that game, at least one.
Fake punt, end-around pass, something like that?
We had a double pass, halfback pass, a double reverse. They were the catch and pitch. A lot of
hooking, lateral,
faking. Yes, exactly. A fake punt, a kickoff reverse on a kickoff. Onside kick. There was something that you need to do because you need to steal one. You got to steal one in order to win the game. You don't start out the game necessarily doing that, but you wait for your opportune moment and then try to. Once you cross the 50 and you're within striking distance, you want to hit one of those. And I would be willing to bet they got one or two in their pocket, and that's what you really want to do. You steal one, you get a little momentum, maybe make a play in a kicking game. And like I said, you got to tackle. You got to get those guys on the ground, keep them from going the distance. They're going. J.R. Harris is going to complete some passes.
He's been pretty solid so far.
And Walton is going to make some runs. I mean, they're not going to be held completely out.
Right.
You're not going to shut them completely out, but you've got to at least keep them from beating you just by themselves. You know what I mean? So that's what you want if you're Billerica. So I'm interested to see how it's going to come out. I really feel like Billerica's a better team than their record.
All right, a little research this week. Actually, Central played one game in 1961. Officially 62 their first season. They played Villarica that year. Let me back up. I think it was 61. The first meeting, Villarica won it 27-7. October 12, 1962 was the first time they played. And Villarica, actually, the series was pretty even through the years. And Villarica won 10 in a row from 2002 to 2017 during that time span.
We won 5 of those. I was there. We're 5 of 5.
I was going to say, hey.
I wasn't going to mention that on the air.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
No. I got a lot of friends at Central now. I got a lot of respect for Central. I wasn't going to say that, but since you brought it up, yeah, we were 5 for 5 over there at VR playing Central in those days. So, but Central's it's a good rivalry. It's a rivalry that I hope stays, even though they're in different classifications. I hope they keep this game every year because I think it's good for locally for both teams. Good gate and 2 good fan bases and 2 good coaching staffs and 2 guys that's trying to do the job the right way. And I feel like this is a game that we need. We need this in Carroll County every year.
I love talking to the coaches every week with Coaches Clinic, which is coming next following us. But I'm telling you, sitting down with Aubrey Brown and then Austin Barron sitting down with him, it's neat to sit down to me. If you like football, just talking to guys, as you mentioned, doing it the right way and whatnot.
Makes you feel good about the young coaches.
Yes, it really does.
In our business, because I'm going to tell you, not every young coach is cut out of that cloth. There's some.
It's a different day and age.
There's some younger coaches, and I know I'm an old timer. I'm a dinosaur now, but so I consider anybody under 45 is young. I do, I really do, and so I would say that you got 2 really good ones there, and we got some other good ones in the area too, obviously. But those guys, they do a good job.
52nd all-time meeting, 29 wins for Villarica, 22 for Central coming into this one tonight. So hopefully, good game for everybody.
They had some historic games in the late 80s. You know, Villarica won the state championship in AAA. You remember this.
Scott Swafford.
86 with Coach Swafford. And then 86 Central won the first 2 with Coach Birchfield. Then AA.
They went 86? Or was it
86 and 87.
Okay.
I think they won back-to-back, I believe. I believe it was now. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure we got some line people around here that can tell me. But Villarica won in 86. Central won in 86. Won in AA, won in AAA. And then the next year, when the schedule come out, they opened up with each other in the first game of the season. So can you imagine how many people was at that game?
Whew. I did see some of that Villarica State Championship game that year. I was with a couple of coaches' scouting deal. They were just checking it out.
If I'm not mistaken, that Central Villarica game in '87 was like a 3-0 game. Like Villarica came back that year and went like a 10-3 or 11-2. They won their region and got to the back, and Central won it again in AA. So yeah, that was probably pretty good night for high school football in this area.
Before we wrap it up real quick, Facebook, we got a question from someone says, do you think Mill Creek can beat North Gwinnett tonight?
I have no idea.
It's two pretty good teams right there.
Yeah, I know the guy at Mill Creek, the coach over there. He's a West Georgia guy too, Josh Lovelady. That I don't know. I mean, I'm not as familiar with Gwinnett County football. I can't just sit here and spit off a lot of information about those programs other than they've both been really good. And that's probably going to be a heck of a ball game.
You saw what was it Creekside did to DeSoto, Texas last week, didn't you?
DeSoto did that to them last year.
Turned about his fair play.
Creekside did the 180 on them jokers. Creekside's receiver coach played for us at Troop. So a guy named Chavez Hill, shout out to Chavez Hill. And that I'm not surprised he's a coach because that joker loved football. He loved everything about it. And he was one of the best stalk blocking receivers I ever saw. And he could catch it, but we didn't ask him to catch it a lot. But by gosh, if you need some of that corner out there dug out of the dugout, Chavez was the man to do it. He was very unselfish.
We'll hear all about this and more coming up a little bit later on tonight on the Red Zone Show. That'll do it for the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. And our show also brought to you by Addison Smith, mechanical contractor, Amy Brown, State Farm Insurance, Brown's Pools and Spas, John Thornton Cadillac, Buick GMC, Rainwater Funeral Home, and Evergreen Tree Service. Remember, Inoventive Benefits Consulting, Bremen and Villarica, measurable and proven strategies to take your employee benefit plan to the next level. And our friends at Deep South Roofing been serving the local community here, West Georgia and East Alabama, for many years. Dependable, dedicated, and proud sponsor of high school sports. We thank them for making this show possible. Coming up, Coaches Clinic. You'll hear from all the coaches. That'll take us up to kickoff of tonight's games, and then the Red Zone to follow later on tonight right around 10. For Coach DT, David Thrower, Mike Paris, Swole Joel getting ready to go work out in between shows here. He'll get ready for Red Zone. He'll hit the weight room and get ready for the finale coming up tonight.
Hit leg day. You look a little thin down on the bottom there, Joel. We're talking, we got your bench mags. I don't know what you're doing with them hamstring curls down there. We got to hit some. Yeah, we got to hit some,
right,
brother.
We got to get out of here.
Parallel, Joel. That's not even close, brother.
Coaches Clinic coming up next, right here from Graddock Sports.
Get your shoulders back. There you go.